Today, we are going to talk about a very impactful American man who touched the hearts of millions.
I'm thinking, is it the president?
No, Sterling, it's you. Today, we are going to talk about you and your infectious energy.
I'm ready to prove myself, show that I am.
Everyone needs a Sterling in their life. Am I right? He is down to earth, funny, upbeat, and selfless. He is one of the best people to enter Hell's Kitchen.
I'm 100%.
Okay, 100%. Right, show me what you made.
Now, if you know someone who could use some much-needed positivity, don't forget to share this video with them. Mr. 100 is an inspiration and, as some fans call him, the manifestation of God's love on Earth.
Enjoy this show, because Mr. 100 is about to give it to you, baby.
And nope, I'm not exaggerating. The dude brought so much joy to the show.
Feel like I was doing orchestra. French toast cranks.
You know that quote by Maya Angelou? She once said, "I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." Well, that kind of sums up Sterling's journey on the show for you. It's almost like making us feel hopeful is his legacy. And what's more, my man was funny, genuinely funny, like laughing my pants off funny.
You got it, Sterling?
I need to change my underwear.
I don't know why some of you all find him annoying though. Can you believe that even Sterling is not without some controversies? So the scoop is, he was a colossal Bible thumper off camera and tried to convert others to his religion, and well, this didn't sit well with many people.
No, leave me the fuck alone.
According to this fan, Steve stated that he didn't appreciate his overtly Christian demeanor, he didn't have a problem with him being Christian, but rather he wished Sterling would leave him out of it. I mean, yeah, it's totally cool to have your own religious beliefs and find strength in your faith. But when it comes to sharing those beliefs, there's a fine line between genuine sharing and pushing it on them aggressively down their throats. Respecting other people's beliefs and not forcing your own onto them is important. Here's my 2 cents. Honestly, I don't get that vibe from Sterling, and I think it's fair to label him that way as a Bible thumper. From what I've seen, from his Instagram at least, his faith isn't about pushing beliefs onto others or being overbearing. It's about uplifting those around him, motivating them, and encouraging them to connect with their communities and lend a helping hand. His Instagram is full of captions about God and Christ, but they're not the kind that make you feel like you're being preached at. It's not sermonizing. Instead, they're words of encouragement, little reminders to be kind, to give back, and to remember that we're all in this together. Sterling's faith is a quiet, steady flame rather than a roaring fire. It doesn't demand attention, but if you look closely, you can see how it lights up everything he does. Whether he's in the kitchen, serving food, or out in the community, donating essentials, that same spirit of generosity and compassion shines through. His spirituality is woven into every aspect of his life, not as a loud declaration, but as a gentle nudge, a way of being that inspires others to be better versions of themselves. In a world where it's easy to become cynical or disconnected, Sterling's approach to faith is refreshing. It's not about being holier than thou or telling others what to do. It's about living out his beliefs in a way that's genuine and heartfelt, using his platform to spread positivity and encourage others to do the same. So, while some might see him as a Bible thumper, I see someone who walks the talk, someone whose faith drives him to make a difference, both in his own life and in the lives of others. What do you think? Anyway, let's see what some other viewers feel about it. One said, "He's loud, obnoxious, never STFU, and all you ever see are his giant teeth due to his incessant rambling." Oops, so this dude clearly is not a Mr. 100 fan.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
keep your apron on. Stop chewing.
On the other hand, other viewers have stated that Sterling's attitude was refreshing in a show full of obnoxious, cynical bastards.
I'm ready on risotto. Risotto, capellini, I'm hot.
Now, let me preface by saying that I loved his enthusiasm. He seemed to be extremely kind-hearted. However, I hate the good vibes only way of life. I am not getting sucked into the cult of positive thinking. Toxic positivity brushes aside real emotions and replaces them with a fake, overly cheerful facade. It feels shallow and insincere. Are you getting me? It's a false reassurance. We cannot dismiss other people's real emotions and act like they were the problem, not whatever was bugging them. Did it seem to you like Sterling was kind of poking at them, maybe without even realizing it, by sticking to his overly positive attitude and not giving any credit to his teammates' feelings, even if they weren't all sunshine and roses? It didn't seem like that to me. He was incredibly motivating, even to his bullies, and it felt sincere.
Had a bad service. I gotta give him one of my famous pep talks.
I'd love to hear your take on this, but you cannot deny he was full of childlike whimsy. And that was a welcome sight to see in an environment of envy and frustration like.
Calm down and just cook.
Right? Simple mantra.
You got this, man.
Back in it, man. I'm a fighter.
If you ask me, he was a cut above the rest.
One that yelling at everybody. I can lead by example. I promise you I can.
Yep. And it was proven in the very first service. While his fellow teammates faced challenges in the kitchen,
Fucking lobster.
Not good.
Sterling took charge and served prawn scampi tableside, keeping the blue team's momentum going. Yep, despite the pressure, he remained focused and became the only one to serve food in the first 50 minutes.
The only person serving food in the fucking blue team is Sterling.
Unfortunately, despite Sterling's efforts, the blue team couldn't turn the tide, and they were ultimately kicked out of the kitchen. However, Sterling didn't let this setback dampen his spirits. Back in the dorms, when tensions arose between Bryant and JR, Sterling acted as a mediator, diffusing the situation.
Come on, we can do this. Who we gonna nominate?
In the second episode, Sterling shows his supportive nature once again by trying to help JR with the menu.
Olive oil, red sauce, which is chef. Chef on it.
Despite his genuine efforts to assist, he stumbled over the pronunciation of the letter C.
Sofrico. Sofrico.
However, not everyone appreciated Sterling's efforts. Steve, in particular, seemed to have a bone to pick, making snide remarks and questioning Sterling's intelligence.
What the hell's wrong with this guy? You get dropped in his head a couple times?
You see, bullying is never okay, and it was disheartening to see Steve and Bryant constantly picking on Sterling. But here's the thing about bullies. They often lash out because they're unhappy with themselves. It's like they're trying to drag others down to their level and share their misery. But Sterling, with his infectious positivity, remained unfazed by those losers. In fact, in Sterling's own words, people will quit on you. You gotta get up every day and make sure you never quit on yourself, because your light is gonna irritate a lot of unhealed people. Well said, my man. Well said. After a tough loss in the Geoduck Challenge, the blue team found themselves facing a grueling punishment. They had to clean all the sand outside the restaurant, prep the remaining Geoduck, and endure a less than appetizing boiled salt cod dish for lunch. While some of his teammates grumbled and griped about the situation, Sterling wasn't the one to make a fuss.
It smelled like somebody left a tuna fish can open for like a week.
While others complained about the meal, Sterling dug in without a single word of complaint. He saw this as just another challenge on his journey to success and refused to let it get him down.
I'm here and I'm determined, man. I'm not letting nothing stop me on my dream.
In fact, he even tried to lighten the mood by busting out a little dance to entertain his sulking teammates.
Where you going?
But instead of joining in the fun, JR decided to question his sanity.
Like, I don't know if he on medication or what's wrong with the dude, but
Okay, Captain Party Pooper. But wait, this reminds me of another instance.
Why are you standing up telling me that?
I love you. You need a hug?
No, I don't need a hug.
Even when faced with criticism from Bryant, who seemed determined to rain on Sterling's parade, he didn't let it get to him. When Bryant questioned his motives and even rejected a friendly offer of a hug, Sterling remained cool and collected. I mean, he didn't let the negativity derail him. As the punishment continued and tension simmered, Sterling's willingness to pitch in and quick work drew his teammates' admiration and ire. While some were impressed by his efficiency, Bryant seemed intent on finding fault, rudely dismissing Sterling.
Kid, you got an attitude for a zester, man?
Oh, I got an attitude because you got something to prove, bro.
Despite their earlier clash, Sterling showed maturity and humility by being the first to extend an apology to Bryant during prep.
I truly apologize. I really want to move forward.
Sterling was unfairly getting flack for eating the punishment food without so much as a complaint, which honestly wasn't a big deal. You could just feel how insecure Bryant was at that moment. Sterling, wanting to keep the peace, went ahead and apologized to make sure this little tiff didn't mess with the team's solidarity during service.
It's all good. I'm 100, man.
All right, good. I'm a million.
Nah, you could never be Sterling. During the second dinner service, Sterling found himself at the meat station alongside Fernando, eager to prove his worth.
Man, it's finally my time to shine, man. I'm ready to prove myself.
However, things didn't go as smoothly as he had hoped.
Jordan, oh, that's right. I ain't ready. Let's go with it. Give me 3 minutes top, man.
Despite his best efforts, he struggled to keep up with the demands of the station, needing more time for his meat with increasing pressure from Steve.
3 minutes, man. I'm not done. 3 minutes.
I can't understand why Steve was so obnoxious. Why would he send out food when Sterling has been clearly communicating that he wasn't ready? This disagreement escalated into an argument, but thankfully, Frank intervened to defuse the tension before it got out of hand.
Pay attention what's going on. Why would you send it up when my food ain't ready, man?
It's almost as if Ho's teammates wanted him to fail. Not almost. Steve definitely did. He was planning sabotage. Unfortunately, Sterling's troubles didn't end there. He made the tough call not to send out raw lamb, displaying a commitment to quality despite the pressure of the moment.
It's 1 minute off. That's too rare, sir.
1 minute out. Oh my
That was too bad.
Later, he faced further challenges when he struggled to slice both raw pork and undersized lamb, and you could tell he was disappointed with himself. In the end, both teams were named joint losers, and they were tasked with nominating 2 individuals for elimination. During deliberation, Sterling once again showed his integrity by taking responsibility for the issues on the meat station and nominating himself for elimination.
But it's my fault.
Only you, Sterling. I'm sorry, man. All right.
It's my fault? I mean, when have you heard a HK chef saying those 3 words after fucking up? However, Bryant recognized that it wasn't solely Sterling's fault, reminding him that Fernando shared the responsibility as well.
When I brung it out, it wasn't perfectly seared.
There's your statement.
Sterling's willingness to own up to his mistakes and put the team's interests above his own demonstrated a level of maturity and self-awareness that is commendable in any chef, and rare. Chef Ramsay saw something in him too, so he survived elimination and took it as a man.
Glad I got up for elimination because it gave me a reality check.
But some people on his team were intimidated by his personality and even threatened physical assault.
Get the fuck away from me. I'm gonna beat the living fuck out of you.
So toxic, that guy. He deserves all the hate. Good that Sterling took his stand and showed Steve his place.
Real, you just disrespect me like that? You think I'm gonna let you walk over me?
It's so frustrating. They assume he's happy because he doesn't care, but really, he's just trying to boost everyone's spirits. Meanwhile, Steve, Santos, and Aaron are out here trying to push him out, and it's so irritating to see them go after someone who's genuinely bringing positive energy to the team. In the third dinner service, he rallied the blue team with words of focus and determination, leading them in a prayer for success.
God, I'd like to hear Chef Ramsay say, well done, gentlemen.
I mean, sweet, right? Assigned to the fish station alongside Bryant, Sterling faced the pressure head on, despite initial concerns from Bryant about his performance.
No, I'm saying, I'm telling you, it's not done.
Sterling managed to impress Chef Ramsay with his perfectly cooked scallops, proving his skills under fire.
Nice, let's go.
Perfect. Good job.
Bryant was definitely hoping Sterling would be screamed at. He is a sus character. Get this. His ex-wife, Crystal Gallagher, left a message under his Instagram post, and it was nothing good, accusing Bryant of extramarital affairs and for consistently stealing and lying about who he is. She wrote, "Not mad my husband is bi. Mad he beat me for knowing and wouldn't let heal from his trauma, and now he pretends to be super Christian while consistently stealing and lying about who he is. Really, can we all just pray that 65 is absolutely too old to be nursing a 39-year-old man? Wow. I think it's not on us to out someone. But if he's belittling his wife, that's so fucked up if true. Back to the episode. The night took a turn when Brian encountered difficulties with the halibut.
Halibut sushi. Stone cold in the middle.
Chef Ramsay called on Sterling to assist Bryant with the struggling halibut station. Despite their efforts, a critical mistake from Bryant resulted in a raw halibut being served, leading to both of them being kicked out of the kitchen.
Fuck off. Get out. We find a new one ASAP.
It was a disappointing end to the service for Sterling, who found himself taking the fall for his teammate's mistake, or should I say his bully's mistake, and he was understandably angry.
Sorry I let you down, man.
Get out!
But back in the dorms, Sterling showed his true team spirit by giving Bryant a much-needed pep talk, encouraging him to reach out for help whenever necessary.
Brian just had a bad service.
I mean, look at how he treats even those who hate him. Kill them with kindness. That's Sterling. During the brunch service challenge, he found himself on the Baked Eggs Florentine station alongside Bryant. Despite their partnership, communication seemed to hit a snag when Sterling suggested adding more salt to the spinach. However, Bryant, confident in his own palate, brushed off the suggestion, having tasted it numerous times already.
I tasted the spinach like 15 times.
See? Bryant let his ego blind him, but Chef Ramsay sided with Sterling's judgment.
I'm 100% sure that it needed one more salt.
As the pressure mounted and the blue team encountered difficulties with their first ticket, Sterling refused to let the chaos overwhelm them. Taking charge like a true leader, he stepped up and called out the next ticket, refusing to let the team succumb to sloppiness.
Coming up next, 4 Florentines, 1 French toast on this side.
Chef Ramsay, impressed by Sterling's initiative and organization, praised his efforts, recognizing the importance of someone taking control.
Next on, okay?
Finally, someone fucking organizing them.
In the fourth service, Sterling was teamed up with Steve on the appetizer station. Sterling noticed that Steve's risotto was soupy and tried to warn him, but Steve brushed it off.
And that risotto soup, he's gonna send it back.
Steve sent it either way because he didn't trust Sterling's judgment or skills, only to be reprimanded by Chef Ramsay like Mr. 100 predicted.
Now look, what do you think it is now? What do you think it is? Soupy.
He then helped Steve perfect it.
Gordon Ramsay's kitchen. Not perfect, it's not gonna get sent out.
After Frank and JR were kicked out, Chef Ramsay decided to shift Sterling over to the meat station, hoping he could help steady things there. Now, let's talk about what happened during the protein identification challenge. On Aaron's turn, Sterling instantly knew the chili had an alligator instantly. Sterling tried telling him, but Aaron ignored him until later.
So fucking covered up with shit.
That's a Cajun dish, man. It's alligator.
All you had to do was just listen to the man.
Sterling is yelling alligator, but nobody is listening to him.
I don't understand why the men underestimated and undermined Sterling so much so that they were ready to lose.
You're right now. Alligator. Yes. Go, go, go.
Aaron couldn't do that quicker. During the family night dinner service, Sterling was handling the appetizer station. Early on, Chef Ramsay entrusted him to check in with Fernando and Santos at the pizza station.
Not bad. Sterling, go and tell Fernando and Santos to hurry up, please.
Sterling did this, but he was mindful to be gentle since there were kids around. Later, Chef Ramsay pushed him to take charge of the appetizers, so he got vocal with Aaron to keep things moving.
2 minutes to the window.
Thank you, sir. Kick back and relax.
In the end, the blue team pulled it off and won the service. During prep before the 6th service, Sterling showed his genuine affection for Steve by expressing his love, but unfortunately, it was met with a rude, bitchy rejection.
Love you, man.
Love you too, brother.
This understandably angered Sterling, who confronted Steve about his behavior, urging him to speak up if he had any issues. In a heated exchange, Sterling rightly called out Steve for talking a big game without backing it up, while Steve resorted to hurling insults.
If you talk as much as you could, you'll be
During dinner service, Sterling found himself on the garnish station, eager to prove his worth despite the tensions between him and Steve. However, communication breakdowns persisted.
Santos, call back.
Yes, chef.
The night took a turn when both Steve and Santos were kicked out, leading to Sterling being relocated to the fish station in an attempt to salvage the team's performance. Despite his efforts during service, Sterling found himself facing criticism during the nomination process. And although his performance was pretty decent, his teammates felt he wasn't taking the competition seriously, leading to him being named as the first nominee. How petty of them to turn on him like that. Maybe instead of being positive, he should have been loud, rude, and abrasive to be taken seriously. But he had an apt response we all should probably internalize.
having anger towards everyone reaching success.
Heard that? And then he stood his ground by nominating Steve based on his repeated mistakes. As tensions reached a boiling point, Sterling and Steve found themselves on the chopping block alongside Katie and Ro from the red team. During his plea to Chef Ramsay, Sterling passionately defended himself, emphasizing his track record of delivering in the kitchen and reminding Steve of his own shortcomings.
How many times have you seen anything back these last 3 seconds?
You tell them. Following Katie's elimination that night, Chef Ramsay asked Sterling to remove his jacket, signaling what seemed to be the end of his journey with the blue team.
I haven't. You're in the red team.
Oh man, Chef Ramsay knew the blue team was holding him back. And while his former teammates may have given up on him, Chef Ramsay saw potential that they perhaps overlooked. Did you notice the look of happiness on Latasha's face? A winner recognizes a winner. She was glad to have Mr. 100 on her team. So yes, in a surprising turn of events, Sterling was given a second chance as he was transferred to the red team. During the infamous dog show planning challenge, he showcased his creativity and passion for cooking, aiming to infuse his crab cakes with a touch of love. However, his memory faltered when it came to making mayonnaise, a skill he hadn't practiced in a while. Thankfully, Jennifer came to the rescue with a reminder, allowing Sterling to overcome this hurdle and present his panko breaded crab cakes.
Key ingredient I used was love.
What does love taste like?
And well, his dish impressed the judges with its texture, generous crab content, and well-balanced seasoning. But not everyone felt the same.
Guess what? Love's not a fucking ingredient, asshole.
Shut up. It clearly was, and he won that round over you. And need I say how satisfying it was? And did you notice how the rest of those entitled brats criticized his food for being below the par, less refined and fast food because what? He is from the ghetto? That's disgusting, man.
If I had to describe Sterling's crab cake in one word, it'd be fast food.
Big W to the editors here. They were clearly poking fun at Aaron, too. During the 10th dinner service, Sterling found himself on the appetizer station, ready to tackle the challenges ahead. When sous chef Andy suggested he lend a hand to Jennifer on the flatbread pizzas, he jumped right in, despite initial concerns from Jennifer.
Do you have time? Can you help her build these? Let's go.
I got you.
His assistance proved invaluable, helping the red team keep the food flowing smoothly to the dining room and earning praise for his efforts. Later in the service, Sterling's risotto hit the mark and was accepted with approval.
Sterling, by yourself, you're doing 2 more capellini with 2 risottos, right?
He was on a roll. In a moment of celebration, he humorously joked about making a music video remix to commemorate the occasion, adding a touch of levity to the intense atmosphere of the kitchen.
Risotto right now.
Everybody, bounce up.
Kendrick has been real quiet since this one dropped. You have to agree, the red team's performance was nothing short of impressive, winning the service by a mile under Sterling's contributions and the collective efforts of the team.
Yes, Sterling, I knew you had it in you. Way to go, brother.
The red team allowed him to shine.
You don't want to jump over to the blue team, Sterling.
No, thank you, Chef.
When Sterling learned that the next challenge was the Amuse-Bouche Challenge, he candidly admitted that he had never heard of it before.
I've never heard what Almas Douche is, but after the day I would know.
Admitting that you don't know something takes so much courage. How many times have we seen cocky chefs bragging and exaggerating about themselves only to fall flat on their faces? He was curious and open to learning. There was not one pretentious bone in his body, but uncertain and lacking in ideas, he struggled to come up with a concept. However, inspiration struck when he thought of his fiancée, sparking an idea for a steak dish. Despite his newfound inspiration, Sterling's confidence wavered. With the red team having an extra member, he made the difficult decision to sit out of the challenge. Recognizing that his dish lacked the presentation he desired, Sterling opted not to compete, expressing doubts about its visual appeal. However, he assured Chef Ramsay that despite its appearance, the taste remained top-notch. The man was not full of himself and chose his team's success above all else, above his ego. During that dinner service, Sterling found himself manning the fish station, determined to redeem himself.
I'm counting because that's how long it takes for scallops to get done.
He counted down to himself on the scallops, a strategy aimed at ensuring their perfect execution. His efforts paid off initially, with the scallops being accepted by Chef Ramsay.
Service, please.
Now, how is that technique?
However, disaster struck when Sterling sent out raw scallops, breaking his promise to avoid such mistakes.
It won't happen again. It won't happen again. It won't happen again.
Despite his assurances that it wouldn't happen again, his third attempt still had one scallop undercooked. Chef Ramsay, concerned by the recurring issue, suggested switching stations, but Sterling was against the idea, determined to make things right. Chef Ramsay's boiled over, prompting him to gather the red team for a meeting in the pantry room.
Do not pull a Frank right now. If you need help,
I'm not pulling a Frank. I got this.
Sterling vehemently defended himself against the fumbling and folding like Frank accusation, while Rowe warned him of the consequences if another dish was rejected. Facing the pressure to deliver, his fourth attempt still fell short, resulting in more raw scallops. With no other choice, Sterling and Rowe switched stations. Despite the setback, Chef Ramsay encouraged Sterling not to lose hope.
Don't you dare give up.
I won't give up.
Don't you fucking
I
dare.
promise I won't give up.
Notice how even at his worst, Chef Ramsay never insulted him. He was pure-hearted, and Ramsay knew it.
Fighter, man. Ain't no quitter in me.
As the tension reached its peak and both teams were lined up, Chef Ramsay singled out Sterling for a heartfelt conversation. With a mixture of admiration and regret, Chef Ramsay acknowledged Sterling's incredible dedication and perseverance.
You have been a phenomenal.
However, he didn't mince words about Sterling's recent struggles on the fish station, concluding that he wasn't yet ready to take on the role of head chef.
You've been a joy to be around. You've put smiles on all of our faces.
He wasn't dismissive of Chef Ramsay or arrogant or delusional. When Chef Ramsay said he wasn't ready, Sterling humbly accepted his decision. In a moment of bittersweet realization, he was eliminated on the spot. While the news undoubtedly came as a blow to him and his fellow chefs, Sterling accepted it with grace and maturity.
And let that be a reminder.
Well, Chef Ramsay commended him for his infectious positivity and the joy he brought to the kitchen, recognizing Sterling's unique contributions to the competition.
This has been the greatest opportunity in my life, man.
From asking what Mr. 100 means in the beginning to saying that Sterling would always be 100 for him, amazing the impact Sterling had on everyone. Now, it's not hard to understand why his elimination hit hard for many fans, with some admitting it brought tears to their eyes or left them outright crying. And while leaving, he hugged everyone.
Part of Hell's Kitchen. I learned a whole lot.
It's rare for an elimination to evoke such strong emotions from the community. What made it even more memorable was that Sterling was the only contestant in season 13 to keep his jacket after being eliminated. Even contestants who placed higher, like Jennifer and Sade, handed over their jackets to Chef Ramsay before they headed out.
On Hell's Kitchen, I got something that nobody in Hell's Kitchen has never accomplished.
Oh, Sterling, you got everyone's hearts here. Now, this one comment left by a fan on Sterling's exit caught my eye. It says, when Gordon looks at an angel and says, "You're not supposed to be in hell." And another person said, "He didn't lose Hell's Kitchen. Hell's Kitchen lost him." Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. It's incredible to see how Sterling's journey has unfolded after his time on Hell's Kitchen. While Chef Ramsay offered him a high-end job, Sterling chose a different path, starting as a chef at the Slider House before moving to the Palisades restaurant. Despite his success in the culinary world, Sterling's heart for giving back shines through. In fact, his Instagram bio reads, "Impact over income." Currently, he's making a difference at a cafeteria in St. Thomas Midtown, a hospital that provided life-saving treatment to his adoptive mom and is now treating his sister's cancer. Sterling's generosity extends far beyond the kitchen. A quick glance at his Instagram reveals his dedication to charitable causes, whether it's donating his time, money, or culinary skills. It's clear that Sterling is not only a talented chef, but also one of the most generous and compassionate individuals out there, using his platform to make a positive impact in the world. Speaking to Nashville Voyager last year, he revealed, "I cook for celebrities now. I specialize in giving you great food and entertainment. I'm known for cooking with love, the chef with a smile." What's more is he founded a culinary school for kids, offering it free of charge through a nonprofit organization called Cooking the Right Way. It's inspiring to see him using his passion for cooking to make a positive impact on the next generation, ensuring that everyone has the opportunity to learn and grow, regardless of their background or financial means. So, where is he now? Happy and kicking. He was seen in Vegas for the Super Bowl and dropped by the HK restaurant. Also, he celebrated his birthday week this year by hosting giveaways and giving back to the community. For example, over 200 hamburgers and hot dogs, as well as over 200 bags of chips and water were handed out at Mary Pruitt Library. Yeah, he's a man with a big heart, and I'm sure he must have stolen yours by now. Recently, Sterling decided to take a step beyond the kitchen and volunteered to donate food, hygiene products, and other essentials to Tony Sudicum Home's Royalty Academy of Barbering. He was also on a fasting journey for 90 days, which he broke in August. Now, fasting is often misunderstood as a form of self-punishment or deprivation, but for Sterling, it was nothing of the sort. He saw it as a path that brought him closer to God, a way to cleanse not just his body, but also his spirit. Sterling views fasting as an opportunity to tune out the noise of the world and listen more closely to the divine. It's a time for reflection, to strip away the distractions of daily life and focus on what's truly important, his relationship with God and how that relationship shapes his interactions with others. Fasting, in this sense, is not about enduring hunger. It's about feeding the soul, nourishing it with prayer, meditation, and acts of kindness. For Sterling, spirituality is not confined to the walls of a church or the pages of a holy book. It's lived out in everyday actions, in the way you treat others, and how you use what you've been given to help those who have less. I came across this one comment on Reddit, which summed up his journey on the show pretty well. It says, please read. Honestly, I love Sterling. He did at times come off as slightly obnoxious, and he had his ups and downs in the kitchen, but overall, he seemed like a positive, uplifting guy with a good heart and was always there to support his teammates. He also had some real leadership qualities and definitely had some great performances in some challenges and dinner services, and we're not gonna forget that he absolutely killed it cooking from Bryant in the final. But not everyone thought he was genuine. Another comment read, I'm not sure if his behavior changed at some point or if the editing showed one side of him to begin with and then switched to another viewpoint. But in the beginning, Sterling was more than a little bit annoying. He was as much an instigator participant in conflict as anyone else, especially if you watched that first punishment lunch. He was also just as foul-mouthed as any of them and tended to do things that were borderline offensive, and that lasted the whole time he was there. So what do you have to say about this? And which is your favorite Sterling moment from the show? But there's more to Sterling than just that. Despite being highly religious, Sterling is also a huge advocate for LGBT rights. He even posted a profile picture of him and his wife celebrating National Pride Day. The aftermath of the post shook things up for him a bit since he was accused of letting down the Christian community. But Sterling got back with the perfect response. He said that it's not right to judge anyone who loves anyone regardless of them being the same gender. And what can I say but amen to that, brother. People like him just restore your faith in humanity. And oh yes, Sterling believes in impact over income, something that he's also written about on his social media bio. As the Reddit user confirmed, he's still working at St. Thomas Midtown. To him, the act of cooking is more than just a job or a chore. It's a way of giving back to the place that gave him so much. And the impact of his gesture is felt far beyond the walls of the cafeteria. It's in the smiles of the hospital who appreciate his dedication. It's in the tears of the patients and visitors who are touched by his selflessness and compassion. It's also in the hearts of anyone who hears this story and is inspired to pay it forward in their own way. In a world where we often get caught up in our own lives, this man's act of generosity reminds us of the power of gratitude and the ripple effect of kindness. Make sure to let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to visit my social media pages, drop a like, subscribe, and turn on my post notifications if you haven't already. And before you leave, if you thought this video was crazy, wait till you see what I got in store for you next.